Okay. Yeah, actually, yeah. So we want to talk about technical innovations for the German Ink Ordinance, and I stopped by at yeah, German Ink Ordinance is just around the corner. Originally, it was actually coming into place on the 1st of January 2026. During our preparation of this webinar, so this deadline changed by 1 year to the January of 2027. But nonetheless, yeah, as I said, German Ink Ordinance is just around the corner, and of course, yeah, we have to do something. We have to give you something in your hands to be able to formulate compliant inks and overprint varnishes to this regulation. And yeah, we created this webinar for you just to give you a short overview. First of all, on ALLNEX. So who we are, what we are doing, um, talking about the mega trends affecting our business. And then we will dive into the German Ink Ordinance and its impact to our technology developments, our innovation. So Luc will tell you about our pathways, our compliance pathways, diving into our technologies like these LEO technologies, which means at the end, so it's low extractables and low odor resins. And then afterwards, we will talk about our LED systems and low migration products. And of course, we want to show you what kind of actions ALLNEX takes. And then afterwards, we will have a final wrap up and we will give you some information how to contact us in the best way. But let's start with ALLNEX. So ALLNEX actually we call ourselves a global leader in coating resins and additives for the industrial and composite markets. And when you look on the left-hand side of the slide, you see that we serve a lot of markets. And yeah, the biggest one is industrial metal, directly followed by automotive. And on the third place already is packaging, coatings, and inks. So we have more than 75 years of heritage in innovation, innovative chemical solutions. And we see ourselves at always being innovation driven. So we want to create chemistry. We call our slogan is for all next generations. So meaning really future oriented chemistry, and of course always close together with our customers. Yeah. Since 2022, we are now part of PTT Global Chemicals, which is Thailand's biggest petrochemical company, with so ALLNEX has about 4,000 employees globally, with a revenue of more than 2 billion euros annually. And we are operating 31 manufacturing sites worldwide. So we call ourselves also a kind of hidden champion, you can say so. But let's talk about the mega trends who affect our old business. The first one is health and safety. Of course, we get more and more limits and bans on chemicals of concern. We want to improve the shelf life of the packed goods and, of course, ensure food safety. And hygienic packaging becomes more and more important. Regulations, they are become more and more strict, especially in the European Union. And when you are not comply with them, so you have to pay taxes and penalties. And actually, keyword PPWR, when you're not compliant to these regulations, you cannot maintain your market access. Yeah. Digitalization. So digital printing is on the rise. So what does it mean? We see much shorter runs. We see customized packaging, personalized packaging coming up. And of course, then digital printing becomes more and more profitable. And digital printing gives you also the opportunity to create a smart packaging, meaning implement selected information on the packaging and also ensure product security that what the customer orders is in the package, for example. This is strongly also connected to e-commerce, yeah? Not only since Corona, even before. So before the pandemic, we saw already a rise of the online shopping, which was really boost during the pandemic. And of course, this online shopping causes some more needs and requirements regarding the packaging. So of course, packaging has to be durable, yeah, has to be lightweight for transport and storage, of course, and this is connected to product security. Also, track and trace becomes more and more important, meaning that you are able to follow up where your packaging is or your good is already. That you always can follow up and see where your goods are. And last but not least, I mean, this is the ultimate buzzword, of course, but of course, it's one of the biggest trends and most important trends: sustainability. What does it mean for us, for our business? So customers expect that we use eco-friendly materials. We want to reuse and recycle our packaging, and we want to reduce our waste, what we create. Not only the waste, we also want to reduce in general our carbon footprint, yeah, of course, and we want to reduce our energy consumption to be efficient, saving costs. But all these trends, what do they mean translated for us as ALLNEX? That means for us, we want to continue to improve our low energy and self-curing resins. Luke will tell you something about this during the next part of the webinar. We want to improve our resins to support recyclability, de-inkability. We have a few already in our product portfolio, but we see that, yeah, we have to comply to that, and we have to at least improve that portfolio. And of course, working on food safety, low migration resins, compatibility to food contact materials. And we want to continue to innovate in eco-friendly technologies and the elimination of chemicals of concern. We want to also innovate in resins that contribute to the design of sustainable packaging, for example, barrier coatings for monomaterial packaging, etc. So, but also, and I said it before, like creating resins for de-inkability, recyclability improvements. So now let's come to the German Ink Ordinance. And as I said, during the preparation of this webinar, the timeline was changed was postponed by 1 year to the 1st of January 2027, but still it's around the corner. 1 year, we all know in our business is more or less nothing. So that doesn't mean this is really a critical regulation for us, and it applies to inks which are used for direct as well as for indirect food contact materials. So, and with this, I would like to overhand to Luc to give us more insights on our technologies and innovations.
Thank you, Andreas. Yes, I want to continue on the technical aspects of this legislation. The final goal of the industry is to deliver inks that are compliant with this German Ink Ordinance. For ink formulators, this means that during the last year, a lot of work is done in reformulating the existing inks to be ready for this new legislation. Actual inks are now based as much as possible on listed substances from the positive list, because this is the direct way to make these inks compliant. In case non-listed substances are still used, it is verified that these are CMR-free, cancerogenic, mutagenic, reprotoxic-free. Migration levels of the used substances are checked by worst-case calculation or by migration testing to ensure that listed substances are below their SML or specific migration limit, and for non-listed substances, that these are below the 10 ppb threshold. For us, and ALLNEX, as a resin producer, also actions are taken to use only listed raw materials. When we have to use non-listed products to obtain certain properties, we don't use CMR labeled products, and we try to use other products at levels that migration is below the SML of the 10 ppb. As resin manufacturer delivering products to these sensitive markets, we have installed a process to limit and to control the level of non-intentionally added substances, also called NIAS. In ALLNEX, we have installed a process to limit these NIAS, and based on this process, we have created 2 grades that are produced under GMP, Good Manufacturing Practices. Both grades are for use in indirect food contact applications. Let me first explain you the purest grade in materials that we produce for use on food packaging, the LEO grade. LEO stands for low extractables and low other, and it's a product range with improved purity profile, reduced volatile content, and enhanced regulatory documentation. The Abacle LEO concept starts already with the selection of the raw materials. Besides the technical performance and the purity and the price, we also check in these raw materials for the impurities. If we can avoid impurities in the raw material, we can also limit the impurities in the end products. During the production, we apply additional to the ISO 9001 process, a longer stripping and an extended good manufacturing process. The final LEO product is beside the normal physico-chemical controls, also checked for impurities with GCMS. We call this the GC fingerprint, and this needs to be identical to the defined chromatogram to be conform. To support these products, we have food contact information sheets ready with compositional details and info on compliance with regulations. If more detailed info is needed, we can share under NDA more details on the composition of these products. In ALLNEX, we also have a lot of expertise in acrylate chemistry, and we can assist for the LM and LEO products in the interpretation of the migration results. To present you the products of the LEO range, we want to start with the self-curing acrylated binders, Abacle LEO 10101 and Abacle LEO 10103. These are self-curing acrylated binders. Both are compliant with German Ink Ordinance that create radicals on the standard mercury UV light and are cross-linked in the network after curing. Both Abacle products need the synergist, and this is already built into the matrix for Abacle LEO 10101. Abacle LEO 10101 can be used for overprint varnishes, for inkjet, and for screenings, and also for flexo. Abacle LEO 10103 is without the synergist in the structure and can be used for offset inks or can be used for in use with sensitive pigments. An additional synergist is needed for Abacle LEO 10103. On this slide, we have LEO products that are used as diluting acrylates or a polyester acrylate in the production of litho inks. Abacle LEO 10501 is a TMP OTA. It's a 3 acrylate with a low viscosity of 80 millipascal seconds at 25 degrees. Abacle LEO 10502 is a 4 functional diluting acrylate based on propoxylated and ethoxylated pentaerythritol with a viscosity of 170 millipascal at 25 degrees Celsius. Both products have strong dilution power and can be used in low viscosity applications as overprint varnish, inkjet, and flexo. For use in litho inks, we have a polyester acrylate, Abacle LEO 10801. This hexafunctional polyester acrylate product brings perfect pigment wetting properties combined with good ink-water balance. The viscosity of the LEO product is around 50,000 millipascal seconds, but is the viscosity that can be used for the production of litho inks. In the LEO range, we also have 3 amino acrylates that are used as synergists or co-resins. These products combine low viscosity with good reactivity and provide a good surface cure to overprint varnishes, flexo, and inkjet formulations. Most flexible product of these 3 is Abacle LEO 10552, the product in the middle. That is also the highest in viscosity. Abacle LEO 10551 and Abacle LEO 10553 are lower in viscosity, but are working also fine as a synergist or co-resins. More details can be found on the slide that will be shared also afterwards. Beside the LEO products, we have created a product range that we call low migration resins. This product range is also produced under GMP. In this range, just like in the LEO range, we also have processes in place to avoid unwanted NIAS, and we use additive and process aids that are suitable for indirect food contact. Difference with the LEO range is that for the LM products, we start from standard raw materials and we don't have the GCMS control in the final product. The first products that we want to present in this low migration range are the LED boosters. Boosters are used to bring a perfect surface cure to LED formulations and contribute in that way to less migration by avoiding set-off problems. Ebiquil LED03 is the first LED booster we specially developed for use in graphic applications. Ebiquil LED03 is proposed to use in OPV, Flexo, and inkjet, and is the lowest in yellowing of these LED boosters. Based on the feedback of LED03, we started to work on an LED booster for litho applications that resulted in Ebiquil LED04 with an improved ink-to-water balance. For LED04, we additionally found an improved pigment stability that we have also built into Ebiquil LED05. With lower viscosity compared to LED04, this product is designed for use in flexo inks, where good flow is very important. Besides the diluting acrylates of the Leo range, we have two LM products for viscosity reduction. Ebiquil 45 is the lower molecular weight version of Ebiquil Leo 10502 with somewhat higher reactivity related to the lower molecular weight function. Ebiquil 895 is a low viscous DPHA. This product with moderate viscosity brings high reactivity and good cross-linking for high chemical and scratch resistance. In the LM range, low migration range, we have one amino acrylate with Ebiquil 85. This product brings high reactivity, good chemical and scratch resistance, and is low in yellowing. This Ebiquil 85 can also be used in LED applications. As adhesion promoters, we have Ebiquil 570 and Ebiquil 575 in the low migration range. Both are chlorine-free diluted polyesters. Ebiquil 570 for use in overprint varnishes and flexo and litho. Ebiquil 575 is good in pigment wetting, is good also in ink-to-water balance, and this can be used in litho inks that need adhesion to difficult substrates. As third product on this slide, we have Ebiquil 820, that is a fatty acid modified polyester acrylate with very low viscosity. This product can be used in flexo inks and provide a perfect flow of pigmented formulations. Also for inkjet inks, this can be used to improve the pigment stabilization. The last product in the LM range is Ebiquil P39. This is the only photoinitiator that we produce in ALLNEX. Ebiquil P39 is a polymeric benzophenone with a viscosity of 9,000 millipascal seconds at 25 degrees Celsius. It is a very compatible product with other acrylated products, and it provides a very good surface cure and can be used in overprint varnish, flexo, inkjet, and litho inks. ALLNEX actions for this new era is that we will follow up closely any change in labeling for our raw materials, because this can have an impact on the status of the final product. Food contact information sheets are actualized and shared in case of a changing status. For new product development, we use, if possible, listed substances because these have already passed some tests and are known. New substances look sometimes cleaner in tox profile, but this can also be because there are no tox data available already at this moment. ALLNEX will further support the food packaging market with new resins for LED curing. We also have internally a program in place to replace chemicals of concern. Andreas already referred to that. And we will further control on impurities in raw materials and try to reduce or avoid these. And now Andreas will continue with the following slides.
Yeah, thank you, Luc. Thank you very much for your presentation. Actually, let's summarize a little bit what we heard today. So first of all, we said it already, the German Ink Ordinance is just around the corner. Even it was postponed, as I mentioned before, it's still just around the corner. So what does it mean? We actively following all regulatory changes We have already compiled a portfolio so that our customers can formulate compliant printing inks in overprint varnishes with the German Ink Ordinance. But we must and we do constantly work on innovations and further developing our products, our resins for our customers, yeah, to create the most sustainable solutions for them. And which is also very important, especially with this increasing regulations, with this increasing effects coming to our business. We want to promote ourselves here as being your partner. We want to provide you the best possible support in formulating the paints and coatings that really comply to all regulatory requirements. And that's why our call to action here is really don't hesitate. Contact us if you need further information, if you need some guidance. And with here, the last slide of our presentation, I want to give you some contact information. You see here our email addresses where you can contact us. And when you scan the QR code on this slide, you will be guided to our product finder on our allnex.com webpage, where you can find all the products what we were just presenting and even more. And yeah, to close our presentation, I just can say, as before, don't hesitate, contact us, talk to us, and get in touch with us, and we try to give you the best support we can.
Well, now move across into the Q&A session. But just before we do, it's separate to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put them in that section so we can work our way through and read out those. But we've also been asked by Claudia of ALLNEX to introduce a new engagement. There's a new slot booking system with ALLNEX's technical expert, Leo. They've asked if we could mention this at the end of the presentation. I'm put a link to the booking in the chat section. So if anyone wants to try to copy that as well, it takes you to the opportunity to book a meeting slot with Waele. So that's there too. So I'll just load up the Q&A. There's nothing appearing live. I do have a couple of questions myself though. So firstly, apart from German Ordinance, are your products also compliant with the other available things such as Swiss Ordinance or the Nestle guidance already?
Maybe I can take this one. Actually, the German Ink Ordinance is more or less based on the Swiss Ordinance, but much more strict. So what does it mean? That means that the Swiss Ordinance is, of course, going direction of the GIO. And of course, what we do is, Luc mentioned it already during the presentation, we are using non-CMR products before they are listed even. So, and all the presented products, what we showed today, they are really compliant to both to GIO and Swiss Ordinance. A different story is the Nestle guidance, because there are some even more restrictions which needs to be checked then dedicated to the certain formulation. So what also Luc mentioned before, we have this food contact information sheets for our products. There you can find some more detailed information on the compliance to the different regulations. But again, I just can call you to say, or at least to please don't hesitate and contact us, and then we will give you guidance to that.
Thank you. So with the self-curing resins, do they completely eliminate the need for photo initiators?
Yeah. Maybe I can take this one, yeah. It's a question we often hear. If is it possible to make an ink only based on these self-curing binders? And often we have the feedback if they start working on this. Yeah, the surface cure is okay, but we miss some depth cure, and reactivity is not good enough. I think we need some work. It needs some reformulation. But today on the market, there are commercial inks which are only based on these self-curing binders with no additional photo initiators. So it's okay. It's possible to make commercial inks that are working, and this is today possible. Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from an anonymous attendee. I think you've already given the answer to this, but just to confirm, they're saying, is it official that the implementation of the GIO is postponed until January 2027?
Yeah, we have the information that it's official, so I think it can be checked with your regulatory group, but at least what the info we have is official. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thought that would be a nice quick one. The next one is also from an anonymous attendee. Do ALLNEX have plans to develop an LED active self-initiating resin that is also compliant? GIO compliant, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can. Yeah, up to you.
Yeah. The answer was already more or less in one of the last slides. We have indeed a project to work on an LED self-curing binder, which is compliant with the German Ink Ordinance. It's only not a very simple and easy project because it needs a lot. We had a lot of interaction with our regulatory group. All the start substances needs to be CMR-free, and this is quite some difficult exercise. And then if you find something which is okay, it also has to be at the end come to a certain cost that is also okay for the market. So in that way, the exercise is not easy. I think we are working on a nice product now. We still have to take some steps that we will take in the future, and that is date of 1st of January 27 is now the deadline for German Ink Ordinance. Will help us a little bit to have a product maybe by the end of next year to be compliant with German Ink Ordinance. So the answer is yes, we are working on that, but we are not yet there.
Okay, thank you. The next question we have is from Andy Byrne. Can you confirm whether the products use only substances listed in the German Printing Ink Ordinance positive list, or if non-listed substances have been migration tested to ensure levels below 10 ppb per billion and an absence of CMR properties?
Yeah, I can also take this one. Indeed, we try to use only listed substances. If we use non-listed substances, and in some cases it's needed, we first check if we can do by risk case calculation, if we can be below the SML of the specific migration limit. It also depends a lot because we are producer of resins. It also depends a lot how much of the product you are using in your end formulation. This will also have an influence of the migration level that you find in that. We can only, in our food contact information sheet, we give information on the level of stabilizers and substances that are present in it. And in that way, you can do your own worst case calculation, or you can prepare your migration testing because then you know the right percentage that you use in your formulation. So depending on that, you can use it. Yeah.
Thank you. And then another one that's coming not on the Q&A directly, it's coming by email. Products that EBQL and LEA 10101 and 10103 designed for curing with mercury lamps. Are ALLNEX working on the version that can be cured with LED lamps?
Yeah.
No, I mean, Luc.
Sure. Andreas, agree.
Okay, I mean, this is connected to the question what was already asked in the chat. So Luc mentioned already, we have a few projects running on LED curing resins being GIO compliant. And yeah, I mean, the postponing, he said it already, yeah, gives us some more time to work on that. We are strongly working on that. But actually, there are a few parameters we need to, of course, which are challenges for us. Yeah, so of course, the selection of the right raw materials, the cost of the raw materials, everything comes together, and we need to consider. And but actually, yeah, the point is that we are working on this now. That we want to be ready with the 1st of January of 2027 to have something in place. We cannot promise, but we are working on that.
Perfect, thank you. So there's nothing further in the Q&A. I'll just double check the chat. Nothing else appears. No, okay. So that's everything from the floor right now. Please do, everybody that's still online, visit the chat if you would like to book a meeting with Luke Debar. And basically, give some any more direct questions that you'd like to ask and not share with the whole of the group, then that's available. So if everybody copies that link now, then they'll be able to use that. Okay, so just before we go over to the final